You guys liked the review of the Dollar Tree speakers, so bonus round, Dollar Tree earbuds. Acceleries? Acceleries? Alright. Okay. I think these are terrible in a way I've never even seen before. 16 hours? What? 16 hours? 18 hours. 20 hours on the box. Okay. Well, I got the one. I got my magnet. I'm happy. Yes, I did just slip there and stab my hand with a pair of flush cutters. Don't be stupid like me and pry with flush cutters. So these are, I believe, $1.50 headphones with a mic, wired 3.5 millimeter. They remind me of cheap headphones that come with like old Apple devices. Wow, these feel really cheap. They're kind of rattly, but not like as bad as I've seen. It's like a slider for volume, and then there's a call answer button that's very clicky. So what about these, the $1.50 headphones? They're not great. The sound quality on them's not particularly great. They don't really have lows or highs, and the mids aren't particularly great either, but they're kind of there. Oh, the other thing about these headphones that I hate, these remind me of like the worst pair of in-ears I've ever gotten that were on a plane. The cable moves in and out. Yeah, it's not secured in there. So like anytime you move this cable around, you can hear it on the driver. It's like moving up and down inside. Not good. I feel like I did get scammed on this one. I got these because I thought they had a mic in them, and they even have the cable for it. It's got the cable pin for mic. Like if I pull up my Sures that don't have a mic in them with this cable variant, see, like they're missing the mic pin. Those are just a long guy. So yeah, I don't know. None of my devices are recognizing a mic out of this thing. And I was looking closer where these usually have it inside here. Sometimes the newer ones will have it in the earbuds, but oftentimes you'll see the mic, and there's no hole. There's supposed to be a hole here somewhere for the mic. This is just a volume control for like the output and an answer call button, which maybe that's what that pin's being used for, just to answer a call. I can't remember if that one goes through the mic pin or not. Yeah, these are not good. I mean, I didn't have high hopes for a $1.50 pair of headphones. In fact, I kind of got them because I was expecting to cut them apart and use them for a mic and something at some point. But that's not the case. And then these drivers are so quiet. Like they are quieter than driving my high impedance headphones on a normal headphone jack. Like you basically have to max out the volume on these just to be able to like hear them properly. And they're still quiet. Like, yeah, that's not great. They are open ears technically because they have this like slot here. If you cover them up while they're playing, it does actually change the driver sound a lot. I really don't think they actually have a mic, but I guess we could break it apart and see. All right, another dollar store find. They sell clamps there. They're actually not bad. They're like close to the quality stuff you get at like Home Depot. So I'm gonna crush one of these open. This is an awkward shape. Nope. Oh my gosh, I'm putting so much force into that. Pliers? Pliers might do it. If ever making these in China, just put like a dollop of like hot glue or something in there to stop that cable from moving. All right, let's see if we can crack this open. Wow, these are some interesting budget drivers. I don't think I've ever seen them in this style, where they have like just massive holes. Oh, I broke it open. Yeah, this is what I was talking about with the cable. They like just tied it inside so it doesn't like yank out. But this part can still move inside here. See, see, they tied it right there. But like this stuff still moves. It's terrible. Like honestly, if they just blobbed a piece of hot glue or something in there, or I don't know, filled the inside of this with epoxy or something. Since this driver is already opened, that was me. Let's see what it's got. Let me pull some cable through. Alright. The magnet grabbed it. Okay. So it looks like there's a passive magnet and maybe an electromagnet coil behind the passive magnet, and then this is actually it might be for this might just be the only active magnet. So I think the speaker wire just drive this electromagnetic coil here, and then there's it's like impossible to see, but there's like a plastic diaphragm secured to this electromagnetic coil, and I think it's just glued to the metal frame or something. And I give plastic diaphragm. Oh, never mind. It is a legitimate diaphragm. I was gonna say it really feels like, I don't know, stretched out shrink wrap or something, but no, it is actually a real diaphragm. It's just you can see the lines in it if you look real closely. I might need a macro lens to actually show this stuff, but there's like some. It's a real speaker driver. It's just crap. The teeniest little magnets. Right. Yeah, there's only 2 wires in here. So this is not a mic unless you plug this into your audio input jack as a speaker and use it as a mic, which not recommended, but you can technically. So is there a mic in here? Probably don't even need to do this with a pair of pliers. Stuff feels so cheap it looks like it'll fall apart in your hands. Okay, so here's your volume slider. Here's your tactile button for answer call, and that could be a microphone. 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe this does actually have a microphone in it right here. It's just not showing up. Maybe the wires are busted or something shorted. These are like the teeniest little pots I've ever seen. This is a linear potentiometer, so it varies the resistance depending on how far on the track this is. Like audio mixing boards use like giant versions of these. But this little tiny baby one. Man, I already ripped it open. Might as well just pull by the wires. Like this is going back together. That's interesting. There's like unpopulated pads there. Don't know if that's just to like test it. Well, that's what's inside a $1.50 pair of headphones, which I think these used to be dollar headphones back in the day, or at least $1.25, because I noticed the Dollar Tree has had prices going up lately, and they just put stickers over it now. So I think most of the stuff that was $1.25 earlier this year is like $1.50 now. These are actually like fantastic clamps. They sell big ones too. I think these are like, I think they were $1.25 for a pair of two. These bar clamps. I think they might have had C clamps too. But yeah, I actually like these. Because a lot of times a cheap clamp works fine for getting stuff tied down for gluing or drilling or whatever, and these are great. They are only 32 ohm impedance, but man, they are hard to drive. I don't think it's an impedance thing. I think it's just a lack of driver thing. Speaker diameter. They're 10 millimeter drivers. Yeah, they are pretty big for in-ears. I doubt they hit 20 hertz or 20,000 hertz properly. I mean, they kind of do what they said they do, minus the mic part. I don't know why that wasn't working for me. And then the other interesting one I found, this one's in a much nicer box, is these $5 pair of Bluetooth headphones that were kind of next to these like knockoff Apple AirPod type things. They remind me a lot of like early 2000s tech, where it's semi-transparent and like glowing. Let's get these open and see what they're like. Acceleries? Acceleries? Alright. So these apparently have noise cancellation for the mic and a digital display for the battery, which is actually kind of nice. And 20 hours of playtime, which I'm assuming is the total case, because I think this contains a battery, and then these earbuds each have batteries in them, and they charge in the case. So I'm assuming these only last a little while, and then you have to charge them in here, which this total wise will last 20 hours according to the box. They have these little tabs over the charging things, charging pins, which I'm guessing means they need to be charged. Ooh. Okay. I'm assuming this also came with a charging cable in the box. Oh, and instructions and other ear plug tips. Yeah. So these are all just super cheap charge only cables. There's no data pins in these. And this is like one of the shortest ones I've ever seen. Gemstone Pro. Is Bluetooth 5.3 even the latest standard? I haven't checked in a long time. 8mm moving coil. Hertz to 20,000 hertz. Wow, these are a lot more confident than the other speakers. Music time about 4 hours at 70% volume. Call time 3 hours at 70% volume. Total working time about 18 hours. So the box is lying. It's 18 hours, not 20 hours. Charging case battery 200 milliamp hours. Can charge the headset 4 times about 16 hours. What? 16 hours? 18 hours. 20 hours on the box. Okay. Headset battery 30 milliamp hours. They only have 30 milliamp hour batteries in them. Interesting. So I got a chance to review these. They were surprisingly awful. Basically, all the controls had to go through these little, I guess they're capacitive touch multi-function buttons. So like the longer, the more times you press them, they do different things. As you can see, this one's not even like centered correctly compared to this one. It's like crooked. Still works, but yeah, those are not great controls. And even better, the instructions just list them as multi-function button without actually listing any of what they do. So you just kind of are left up to your own to figure it out. The other annoying thing I found with these is they don't connect unless you like press them. If you just like try to connect to the phone like you would normally by going under your Bluetooth settings, doesn't work, won't connect. You gotta like take one of these out, I think, and I think maybe only one. Not sure, I'm not sure. And then hit the this button to connect, which might also start playing stuff or not playing stuff on your phone, depending on, I don't know. But that's actually not the problem I had with these. After listening to these earbuds, I think these are terrible in a way I've never even seen before. There's a delay from the right channel to the left channel, making it sound like everything is coming out of your right ear or from the right direction, despite there being sound coming out of both of these. I think it's because your phone pairs or device pairs to this right channel earbud, and then it transmits a signal from the right channel earbud to the left channel earbud for the second channel. So there's a secondary wireless transmission happening between these two earbuds, and that's my guess at why there's a delay. These headphones just must not transmit that signal between the two earbuds themselves with a low enough latency to where it's inaudible, or maybe nicer versions of these headphones use like an audio buffer to handle the latency mismatch between the two headphones. I'm not really sure how these are actually designed internally. They're not the worst sounding pair of headphones I've used, especially because these exist, the $1.50 headphones. And even out in the wild, I've experienced worse, like the cheap headphones they'll give you like on a plane if you don't have any. Like those are up there with this quality. So it's terrible. I've never actually heard a pair of headphones do this before. I generally try to avoid Bluetooth stuff in general because it's a nightmare to keep connected. I hate charging batteries. Usually the noise cancellation isn't as good as passive noise cancellation. And usually when I need noise cancellation, it's in incredibly loud environments where it's dangerous for your noise cancellation to cut in and out. So I've kind of abandoned active noise canceling in general. And these don't even really have noise cancellation. They're just earbuds. Apparently I have noise cancellation on the mic, which sounds terrible too. But all Bluetooth devices like these sound terrible with the mic because of the way the audio is encoded. It's not usually typically encoded over AAC codecs like the audio playback is. So it actually usually sounds worse than like an old 80s telephone. Like there's actually less data being sent over the wire, I think, than an analog POTS telephone line from back in the day. So yeah, these are not good. If they would just connect directly to the phone and I hit connect, that wouldn't be a problem. Funny enough, the multi-mode like buttons work better than the Bluetooth speakers. Like if you tap once, it's like play and pause, and then if you hold it advances a song instead of just tapping it once changes the song. Double tapping was increasing volume or decreasing volume, which I didn't really like, but you generally aren't done to change the volume on these once you set it on your phone, right? So not great. I do love the styling of these. It really does remind me of like early 2000s tech. I think it's cool that they actually have LEDs inside the in-ears. Like that's kind of unique. I haven't seen that before. Where it's like the whole thing glowing transparent. But yeah, that like white kind of gives me like white and clear kind of gives me like the early 2000s, like, I don't know, Apple computer vibe and just early tech from the 2000s and maybe late 90s. That like futuristic looking, clear, transparent. I like being able to see the circuit board in there, even though there's not really a whole lot to see. I do see like a ribbon cable buried in there, maybe for the either USB-C port or the display. I was having trouble getting this one to always hit the pogo pins for charging. So the way these work is they have two springy pins for the power. I'm sure one's ground, one's actually I don't know if it's 5 volts or not. I could measure that, but I really can't be bothered. And they go into the earbuds, and then the earbuds have their own batteries inside them to charge. I've seen some of these use like wireless. Of course, they probably wouldn't do that for these. It would take up too much space and it'd be more expensive to do. And the battery would last even less. But I've had trouble sometimes with these like actually connecting on the left side for some reason. This time it worked fine, but I've connected it before and it's just like not started charging. It does look like the left side's like a little bit more out than the right side, so that might just be like manufacturing tolerances. But honestly, if they didn't have that weird left-right channel delay, these would be totally usable. Like I would not mind using these as like a cheap pair of on-the-go headphones. I mean, they fit pretty well in your pocket. Yeah. So they'd be pretty convenient, but yeah, the left-right channel thing's terrible. Like, a lot of times, like, I was listening to music and the vocals would just sound like they're coming only in your right ear, and I was taking out the right channel earbud just to double check that the left channel was even working, which it was just delayed. So that was what was really confusing me. It really does just sound like all the positional audio is coming through the right channel because of that delay. It's like that serious of a delay. But I don't know if like having these individually connect to the phone would be a solution, because then you have to worry about like 2 Bluetooth devices connected for each channel and synchronizing them. So I don't even know if that's possible with these, but yeah, I wanted to like these, but they're not good even for $5. Like in comparison, I usually don't use Bluetooth headphones, but if I do need a pair, I usually use these, which are some cheap. They're bone conducting headphones, so they don't go in your ears; they go next to your ears, like around your temple area, and these are speaker drivers basically, but they're like physically conducting ones, so it basically vibrates your inner ear through your skull bone, which is kind of weird to think about. And it is really weird to play like bass heavy music on these. It feels like they're like, I don't know, not only are these moving a lot, but your bones like moving a lot, which is just strange. But typically, if I need a cheap pair of Bluetooth headphones, I use these. They have a mic built in. They last like a day on a charge, I think, maybe more. I don't know. They will get me through a whole day though. They take USB-C. They're water resistant, so I can like wear them exercising or walking around, and I don't have to worry about wires catching on anything. Um, they don't sound like amazing, but they don't have delay problems because these are actually handle it with a wire, I think, internally. So this side, I think, picks up the Bluetooth, and then there's small wires going to this side to drive um, the left channel. So these aren't really like as much for listening to music. I tend to listen to like vocal range stuff on it, maybe like podcasts. Occasionally I'll take a voice call on it or something like that. So that's primarily what I use these for. They're not great for music. But this is kind of what I was hoping to compare them against, but they're not good. So what do I listen to regularly on? I listen to these. So most of what I do, I need passive noise canceling for. So I use these Shure 215s. These are musicians' in-ears. These are like what drummers will wear on stage to act as both earplugs and high quality monitors so they can hear whatever they need to off the stage. These are kind of gross. The labeling has worn off basically at this point because I wear these all the time in like motorcycle helmets, out when I'm working in the garage, just out and about, and they've had years of abuse and they've held up great. This is actually my second pair because I was trying different cable lengths and stuff on another pair, and I ended up wearing out the actual contacts for the drivers because these cables detach and you can replace just the cable or the driver if something fails, which is nice for maintenance. So my original drivers were actually clear, kind of like this case was. It was kind of cool. You could like see the actual driver. I mean, these are kind of clear. They're just like really dark black plastic. But they are semi-transparent, so you can kind of see the driver there. But the other ones, you could actually see the wires and everything really easily. So these are like the low end of Shure's in-ear line, I think. I just use these because they're really more for earplugs than anything, and I can listen to like navigation while on a motorcycle. So these actually saved my hearing. I use foam tip earplug ones. I'm curious to try. I've seen the actual earplug tips, like the industrial earplug tips for these. I'm curious to try those out sometime. Because these foam ones do wear out. You can get replacements and pop them off and put new ones on, which I do every once in a while. Because they get gross and just stop acting as earplugs. But this is kind of my reference for in-ear monitors. I don't remember exactly what I paid for these. I think they were probably like around $100, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. So obviously, like they're not even going to compare to the $1.50 in-ear monitors, but this is what I use every day. I also love all my stuff is for the most part analog equipment, so I love 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks. I still look for a phone that has 3.5 millimeter to this day because I love just plugging in and going. I don't want to worry about having to pair, connect, disconnect, Bluetooth, and deal with crappy audio quality both on the playback side and the mic especially. These I don't use for a mic, they don't have it, but you can get cables that do have the mic embedded in it. And if you really want to, you could also convert these to Bluetooth. They do sell cables that have the Bluetooth receiver in them. You can actually turn them into something like these, where they have like the Bluetooth piece, I think, over here with the battery, and then instead of these, you have the cables plug into the in-ears. All right, now for the teardown. Let's see if we can get these apart. I'll just take these off for now. All right, put on your safety squints. Ugh. Oh wow, that actually came apart pretty easily. So the capacitive touch button here is connected via a pogo pin right here. And then you can see there's a mic here at the bottom. There's actually a mic on either one, which is interesting. I mean, I guess that's how the nicer ones are too. Let me pull this board out. Oh, and there's the spicy pillow. That is such a tiny little battery. I like that they put like an electrical shock warning on it. Like it's high voltage or something. It's not. Okay, and then on the back side of the board you can see these two contacts are what go to the charger case. Oh, there's some sort of IC. All right, let me see if I can read off this chip. So it looks like the logo is kind of like an A and a B smashed together, or maybe A3, I don't know. And then the top serial number is B167CT, and the lower is X0K553, I think. Maybe it's a little Bluetooth microcontroller. There's another little chip on the back here. Oh, it's a crystal oscillator. It's a 20... One second. So it looks like it's 26,000 megahertz. So that would be 2.6 gigahertz, I think. You know, I actually can't tell if that's 26.000 megahertz or 26,000 megahertz. But there's this little, well, I can't see that since that's lit up. But this little box right here is a crystal oscillator. So that could either be used for chip timing or radio. I'm just going to cut the driver wires off one at a time because it is still powered. Oh gosh, it's magnetic. I forgot. All right, now I want to get a closer look at this battery. So it is a 3.7 volt single cell at 30 milliamp hours, which I think was the rated capacity listed on the box for these, or in the manual. So they're not lying necessarily about the battery specs. These will be interesting to shove into tight spaces. Oh, I think I can turn it on if I tap in the pogo pin. Does this one do that? Oh wait, this one, the battery disconnected. I didn't even cut that. It just like fell off the solder joint. Also, it concerns me that there's lithium ion cells that close to your ears. If these were to short out, that would be an awful fire or explosion to deal with. So now I got two very teeny 30 milliamp hour lithium batteries. Almost forgot my magnets. Never mind, those are chipping off. They're very in there. Now I get this thing apart. I don't see a non-violent way to open these. Oh, there's a little bit of a gap in there. Yes, I did just slip there and stab my hand with a pair of flush cutters. Don't be stupid like me and pry with flush cutters. They're not designed for prying, and they're very sharp. There we go. Well, that part of it. Oh my gosh. Why is it making that sound? There we go. Man, these magnets. Board does not look like it's gonna just pop out. There's this piece of plastic that's holding it in. Okay, so that just pops out. And then, is there anything else holding you in? Oh, maybe the pogo pins. You gotta press both of these down, I think, to slide it out, but if there's power going to it, then that will short it. You know, it's not like I needed to save the pogo pins, right? I could probably just rip the board out. Rip pogo pins, they're now sideways. Alright then, here's the main spicy pillow. What's holding this in? Pry gently, just see if there's adhesive. Yeah, I think there is. Be very careful. I do not want to puncture this. There we go. Yeah, I was just held in by some The double-sided foam tape. I'm gonna pull that off. Alright, there's another single cell, 3.7 volt, 200 milliamp hour battery. Oh, it actually broke off like some of the PCB. Kind of want to plug it in and see if it still lights up. Use the recalled battery pack so I don't fry something on my computer. Would you look at that? It's okay. Still on. Huh, the main IC just is not labeled. Interesting. I think this is an LED controller, the smaller one. Which would make sense for the RGB LEDs. Not a whole lot going on the other side. Ah, I got a magnet out. Sorry, that was off camera. That was like surprisingly difficult to pull out. Let me see if I can get the other little one. I think these are tiny little neodymium magnets, so they're pretty powerful for their size. Kind of like broke the plastic around it. I'm kind of prying it with pliers. Oh no, I crushed that one. Yeah, it's actually a pretty brittle like material. I'm actually gonna toss this so I don't get any rare earth metal shavings everywhere on my desk. Well, I got the one. I got my magnet. I'm happy. So I did notice on some of the other Dollar Tree packaging that does this like fold out stuff, there's magnets inside for the fold. I think there's a big disc magnet in here. On another box I opened before, they had these little tiny disc magnets on either corner to hold it secure closed. I just like keep these on my Leatherman just in case I need to like secure something thin with magnets, or I need to like magnetize a screwdriver end. I can use those. So bonus, free magnets in the packages on some of the stuff. So let's see what I'm gonna save from this. I do want to keep this main board for now, but the lithium battery connected and the segment displays. I might reuse this in another project, and I'll definitely use the battery in something. And it also has like a USB-C port mid-mounted. I don't know if I'll use that, but it's there. And then I'm gonna hang on to these for now. Don't know exactly what I'll use off of it. I don't know if the chip's usable for anything. Maybe just the pogo pen. And then I'll keep these little pogo pens that were kind of salvaged off the main board. They still seem to be somewhat usable. And then of course I'll keep the batteries out of the earbuds themselves. These are very small form factor, so I could stuff these into something very small. Not a lot of power there, but the form factor is good. Oh, and I can't forget my magnet. Drivers aren't useful, so I'm gonna toss those. And what's left of the shell. So that's what I'm gonna keep. for future projects. Hope you enjoyed the teardown. I'll see you in the next one.